Fire Emblem. Engage.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining me once again on this Fire Emblem Engage Pacifist playthrough. Chapter 6 is where we unlock the arena between chapters, allowing us to increase bond rank and inherit skills. We have immediately given Vander hit plus 10 and a Marth engraving on Noatun for a huge accuracy boost. Our javelin is also more accurate, now that we have forged it to plus 1. This chapter contains lots of small chances to fail, so we appreciate every tool we have to mitigate risk. Alear and our new recruit Yunaka had the simple task of killing this barbarian. He drops the Micaiah ring upon his defeat, which is mandatory to complete the chapter. The way this works is rather amusing.
I've got this.
As long as this guy remains alive, the boss Tyrande will dodge any attack that would otherwise drop him to 0 HP.
Whatever you say.
Chapter 6 is one of 3 main story maps, shrouded in fog of war. In Engage, you can't move where you can't see, so lighting the way to the boss is crucial. Louis attacks this sword fighter with Override to negate his crit chance as he canters into the bush. His goal is to draw out the boss next turn.
Yes, here.
The mage up north has a 3-range thunder spell, so we have to be sure to contain him as we move through.
Point the way again.
Since the sword fighter moves first, we can use Chain Attack AI to accomplish this. Boucheron with a compact axe and the Anna Bond ring can safely sponge the resulting damage, thanks to the ring's plus 2 HP, plus 2 speed, and plus 1 resistance. Clan and Etier back up to lure a different enemy. We appreciate Alear getting hit by this attack. The barbarian has 2 chances to damage us, and since Micaiah will give Yunaka the ability to heal, that damage translates to extra experience. Boucheron doesn't have to avoid the mage here. He takes 24 damage from the mage and the swordie combined, and vulneraries heal 22 of that while he's close to Celine. With 31 max HP, it takes 5 turns to kill the Bouche at that rate.
Our foes are strong.
Alear now gets her first kill in 3 chapters, and her final one for a long time. She'll be transitioning into a support role from here on out. Emblem Micaiah is the main reason she can do this, since she allows units to heal multiple allies per turn. At low levels, this results in massive experience gains without any combat or stat requirements. Yunaka's single use of Mend here is worth almost as much EXP as Alear's kill. Down south, the thief attacks Louis from the left without us having to reroll any RNG. This allows Vander to light the way for Louis, who moves into Tyrande's range. This ends up being the ideal place to use our first speed tonic, since it prevents Louis from getting doubled by several hard-hitting enemies. How's that for a curveball? We have plans to once again use Folkvanger to buff Celine's attack power. Safely dropping her to below half HP is tricky, but I figured out a cool tactic with a Celica engraved steel sword. The weapon is heavy enough to allow the thief to double Celine, which makes her a good target. The engraving weakens the sword just enough to avoid a kill on retaliation, and it also negates the risk of getting crit.
A little late to be saving the day.
Boucheron's movement on turn 1 lured the mage into a corner, which means Chloe can box him in. Up top, Louis has successfully lured and chipped the boss, so now he has to avoid critting anyone else. Sadly, we can't unequip a weapon mid-enemy phase. At long last, level 6. With Micaiah around, it won't take nearly as long to reach level 7. And there's the play. The extra 5 crit on our steel sword is unfortunate, but otherwise, it's a solid bait.
I can fight.
On turn 3, we lack the firepower to take out both of Tyrande's HP bars. We need to set up a formation that lures him closer without risking death for any of our allies. Vander's position is carefully chosen after lots of testing, since he is the more appealing target. Louis will guard Vander's flank and safely absorb a hit from an archer in the fog. Further back, Chloe is carrying the Alphonse Bond Ring. This gives her plus 2 strength and, more importantly, increases the attack of adjacent allies by 2. Celine equips Folkvanger this turn, and Boucheron moves in next to her. This prevents Celine from dying to the mage, since the Ana Bond Ring increases the resistance of adjacent allies by 2. 8 HP and 10 res is just enough to avoid death. Boucheron dies if all 3 nearby enemies hit him, so we want to block off the thief. He doubles Fram and has 11% crit on her, so I choose to spend the luck tonic here. There is an art that increases crit avoid, but equipping it would actually risk Fram killing on the counterattack. Looking back, there might have been an alternative strat that uses chain guard and different movement to avoid any chance of death at all.
Yanaka here.
There's not much happening up top, but Alear's dex level up now means she has 1% crit on her opponent. Cool. Last turn, Tyrande was the first enemy to move. This turn, it's a different barbarian. Why, you ask? I don't know. What I do know is that the boss and the sword fighter attack from randomly selected tiles this turn. I believe the only losing formation has Tyrande 2 spots above Vander, and the swordsman 1 spot above Louis. Nice, that worked out. Now we just need Fram to live. We have a few ways to reroll RNG if necessary. All clear. Chloe is up first. She has to move next to Louis to take his javelin +1 and toss it. Ideally, she gets hit on the counter. I take one more look at the team to make sure everyone but Yunaka is injured. Then, Yunaka engages to pull off our first great sacrifice. I believe the experience yield is the same as using a basic heal staff on every target ally. And while experience per action is capped at 100, SP is not. Our newest ally has gained nearly 200 SP on her joining map. That will come in handy later, even though we aren't using her long term. Alright, back to business.
I will do what I must.
Tyrande needs to go down, and Saline is all too eager to dunk on her 3rd boss in a row.
This isn't so bad.
There is now only one viable spot to attack from. By sending in Louis first, we can canter away from that spot once he's done with it. Saline isn't the only one looking for a hat trick of boss beatdowns. Get him, Vander.
You think this is justice, huh?
That's Chapter 6 with 2 kills. Join me next time for the map that gave me the most trouble in the early game. Take care, everyone.